Hello everybody, I'm your host, Too Elusive, and today we are going to be looking at Sonic once again, but this time we're going to be going over how to play the character during the neutral phases of the game. Now it goes without showing that playing neutral with any character can be difficult, but with enough time, more practice, and plenty of matches, you'll be able to get the neutral down no problem. With this character specifically, the main thing you want to keep in mind is that you are the fastest running character in the game, and that's what we're going to be using to play out the neutral. Now, in Smash 4, the way Sonic played is that it was all revolved around his spin dash. You could shield cancel out of it, you could spin hop out of it, you could do a lot of things out of his spin. And the whole deal with Sonic in the previous game was just to camp out your opponent and that's it. But no, in this game he is much more of a skirmisher than someone who is going to camp you out all the time. So the main thing you want to do during the neutral phases of the game is you want to use a lot of hitting and running. You want to use your speed and constant dash dancing mechanics as what you're seeing on screen here. And this is basically what you want to do with the character. You want to be able to keep dash dancing around and wait for an opportunity to show up, and then you're going to go ahead and punish accordingly. Because of Sonic's really impressive movement speed, he can literally get in and out of fights very easily. So all you would have to do is just run near your opponent, wait for them to do something, or if you see them shielding a lot, you could go ahead, run up, grab them, do something, and then leave them alone. Or you can run up to them, wait for them to do an attack, and then punish. So that's basically the main neutral with this character. You're just doing a lot of hitting and running. And if you don't see an opportunity come about, just wait a little bit. Be patient. You keep using your speed to keep them pressured, and don't run in and feel the need to make the first move unless you absolutely have to. Now, once you are in the advantage state, there are a couple of things you can do with the character. You can either continue to use juggle strings in order to keep them airborne, or you could do what I prefer to do with the character is when you get them in Sonic's advantage state, try to get them off the stage as quickly as possible. And there are a number of ways you can do it. You can nair into bair at higher percentages. You could nair into forward air to get them off, which works a lot better at lower percentages and high percentages. And when they're off stage, you can use his fair or his bair to get a pretty early kill in depending on the character's recovery. And because a lot of recoveries in this game are not that great, it's very easy to secure a pretty early kill with the character. One thing that I like to do off the stage, like if I know that my opponent's going to recover low, but they're like super close to the stage, like right around there, generally what I like to do is one of the following. I would either go down and reverse the fair with them so that I'm facing the stage as I'm coming down, and hope that I get a stage spike, because you put them in a position where they have to tech it. Now, they can tech the hit if they happen to have enough distance between them, but it's an awkward type of tech. It's actually a pretty hard move to tech out of. You could also jump down and you could bair them if you know that that's where they're going to go. But of course, the traditional way of edge guarding with Sonic is the spring. And you can keep doing that to either A, rack up damage, or B, you can use it to snuff their recoveries. Against certain characters is not going to be the most optimal thing to do, but the way I look at it is that even if it doesn't get the kill or anything, you're still racking up damage, and that's what counts. And if you can keep getting those extra hits in over and over again, then by all means keep doing it, because by the time they get back on stage, all it takes is one solid hit to basically seal the deal. Now, as for if they're hanging off of the edge, there are a couple of things you can do. You can short hop or full hop your up air, because it does cover a lot of aerial space since Sonic opens his legs up, and that does extend the hitbox so you'll be able to catch them in the air, and you can continue to juggle them that way. You could also call them out with a nair as well, which could lead into a couple of other setups he has, since nair will always 100% pop them up in the air. Or you could also catch them with a fair. Again, this is covering all jump options. Like if you know that they're going to jump on, you could do this basically. And you could just force them off stage and put them in a bad position once again. Now, for covering roll, if I know that my opponent is likely going to roll after, let's say, calling out their jump ons enough times, if you stand right here, like right about here, you could potentially catch them with a down smash. And that depends on the character's roll animation. Like, if they have a very solid roll, then chances are you might not hit them with this move, but the range of this move should allow you to hit them regardless of that. Like, it's a pretty hard hitting down smash. It's probably one of your safest call out options that you have, especially when you're trying to catch somebody's roll. Another thing you can do is that if you feel they're not going to just roll back, well, if you feel that you're not going to be able to call out the roll fast enough, you could also do an instant dash attack. Because Sonic's dash attack travels pretty far, so even if they roll, chances are you're going to be able to catch them with a dash and still manage to get a hit off and go back into your advantage state and try to stay, try to keep your momentum going basically. So that's one other thing you could also do. Now, Sonic's forward smash can also two-frame, and for those who don't know what two-framing is, it's basically any attack that can hit below the ledge, as you can see there. So if you know somebody is going to recover and try to go for the ledge, you can catch them with a two-frame and get an easy stock. So that's something you definitely want to practice doing. Practicing someone's recovery is going to take a lot of time and effort to get down, but once you do put in the effort to get it down pat, then you'll be able to pretty much land these almost 100% of the time. I say almost. But enough of that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a couple of examples of what playing the neutral game can potentially look like for Sonic and how you'll be able to get around some of the things that they're able to do. Alright, so take this example with Jigglypuff. In this matchup, what I prefer to do, and this is just against Jigglypuff in general, when I'm playing as any of the characters I play as, I generally make it my goal to play just as lame as Jigglypuff. That's all I do. Jigglypuff, I feel like, is a character who thrives on opponents that have to get in and basically tries to catch their mistakes. And once she catches your mistakes by getting you in a GameStop trade, which is generally what she's going to want to go after, she's going to get momentum off of that and proceed to carry you off of the map. So what I try to do is play just as lame as she does and, wait my turn, keep my distance, wait my turn, make an approach but not too much of an approach, don't commit to anything that I want to do, and make sure that I keep the game in my favor. As long as I have percentage lead, then I really don't have to do anything. All I gotta do is just sit around, wait for the whiff punish or whatever option she wants to do, and then punish accordingly. Now, one other thing I also need to point out here is that Sonic's homing attack is also an excellent tool in the game. You literally press B button and the move does everything for you. But the drawback to the homing attack is that it's a very exploitable move. Like, if somebody were to spot dodge or shield or basically move out of its way, then it puts you in a really bad position. Now, in that instance, I just know that I could get away with that many spin dashes as well as homing attack mix-ups because I knew that my opponent was not going to expect those, seeing as how I haven't done them all match. Generally, I try not to spin dash too much simply because it is a very predictable move to utilize, and because you can't really camp people with it at all. Okay, that's just funny. And because you can't really camp people with it at all in this title, unlike the previous game, your best bet is to basically use it when you know that you can get it off. Like, see right there? Remember when I said that down smashing can cover roll pretty well? That's what I was talking about. Now, this was a little interesting scenario. I thought that I could get her with the down smash on the way down, but I underestimated the radius of that sing. That sing is really good. And this is another stupid thing that Jigglypuff can do, and you're about to see that as we're playing this out. Because at this instance, I was trying to two-frame her, but, I was messing up my button inputs and everything. But yeah, Jigglypuff can do something like that where she can retreat back to the ledge and sing and get back on. That time I just knew what she was going to do and said, no, we're not doing that anymore. So that's definitely something you want to keep in mind, but you get the idea. Being patient, playing around your opponent's tools, knowing what the strengths of the characters are and what their weaknesses are is going to help you seal the deal. Wow, I actually got caught by that. But anyway, that's enough of that example. Let's move on to another one. Now, in this match here, this was against a zoner type character. And the thing with dealing with zoners as this character, your main goal overall is to try and stay in their face. And when you're playing as Sonic, that's very easy to do because your speed allows you to just run in and harass them before they can do any of their shenanigans. But one thing you gotta keep in mind, however, is that it's also a double-edged sword. I say it's a double-edged sword because they too can also keep you out pretty well if you happen to continue to run into their gimmicks or whatever projectiles they're throwing at you. Now, I can't remember per se if this particular Mii Gunner did get me in a pretty nasty setup where I couldn't get in for a while, but the whole point that I'm trying to make here is that you want to, again, as you saw there, use your dash dancing and your speed to bait moves out and then go in for the punish. Now, that time I knew that I could get away with throwing in an aerial on the way back because I started to catch on how they are recovering back on the stage. Because I noticed that this particular Mii Gunner, she likes to recover, I would say, pretty high instead of low. And while she didn't burn any of her jumps or anything, like, I just had a feeling that she was not going to try and go low or make an effort to dodge any of my stuff if I were to go out after her. And it worked out. Now that, what you saw there was a failed spin shot that I tried to do. I feel like spin shotting, like I said earlier in the spin shot video, is harder to do in this case. And at this point, I was also getting a little overzealous because I kind of fell into the trap where the numbers are looking red. I want to hurry up and seal the deal before I end up losing lead and got a little too hasty and was getting hit by a lot of things. But like, one thing you got to remember is that you want to play patiently no matter what. It's going to help you in the long run. So what all of those examples have in common is that, well, what I did was I did a lot of running around, baiting, and waiting for my turn to be able to do something in the match, as opposed of just throwing moves out and hoping for the best. If I had to sum up how Sonic's neutral works, he's basically a hybrid between being a defensive character and a rushdown character. Like I said earlier on in this video, I always see Sonic as a skirmisher than someone who just stays in the face of your opponent all the time and does what he wants, and then he continues to do that. Like, he's not a Spacey is what I'm trying to say. He's not a Spacey, he's not a Mario, he's not a traditional brawler, so to speak. He is someone who likes to get into fights quickly, do his thing, and then leave the fight before his opponent gets a chance to retaliate, and then rinse and repeat over and over again, and his speed basically allows him to do that. The best part about this iteration of Sonic is that he doesn't need his spin dash stuff from the previous game to be able to do that. So you can literally run in, do your stuff, run out, and rinse and repeat, and just keep getting in your opponent, forcing the fight when they probably don't want to force a fight, and then once you've initiated and got your advantage state and you see that your advantage state's about to end, you definitely want to back off and wait for it's your turn again. And the only reason why I say it like that is because one major weakness that Sonic has is that his moves does not really allow you to have long continuous strings like you would get out of a character like Mario or Fox or Wolf or any of that. Basically, when you're in advantage state, you want to keep them in your advantage as long as possible and try to force them off of the stage as quickly as possible. That's how you can maintain this character's advantage state, because he has a lot of tools which allows him to push players off of the map pretty easily. Like I said earlier, his fair, his bear, and along with his homing attack and certain spin dash combos allow him to do that as well. Like, I noticed that his down B, when he hits somebody with it and you launch off of them, it knocks them away from you, but that can be used to gain more stage control as well. But all in all, Sonic is a pretty fun character to play as. Again, if you're the type of person who likes to play as characters who pretty much are all about skirmishing, getting in and out of fights quickly, and not allowing your opponent to trade with you, that's definitely a character you totally want to pick up. I should also point out, however, that the big weaknesses that Sonic does indeed have is that he will struggle against someone who can zone him out really well, or someone who can space out all of his approaches. Example, swords. Like, characters like Ike, Lucina, especially Lucina, can give Sonic a run for his money, and I don't mean any pun when I say that. Rob can also be another pain to deal with this character, mainly because Rob has received a number of buffs that overall makes him a much better character than how he was in 4. He can zone out a lot better, he can control the stage a lot better. I actually have a friend of mine who plays a really good Rob, and I tell you, that man does everything in his power to not allow me to get in. But that's all there really is to it, guys. Hitting and running is the key. Don't overextend, and most importantly, play patient. Sometimes playing patient is the best thing to do when you're running around and waiting for your turn to make your move and strike. Anyway guys, that's it for this video. I hope it was definitely helpful and gave you some insight on the character. The next video that'll pop up on here, well, I haven't actually figured out what that video will be yet. As a matter of fact, if there's any videos that you would like to see me do regarding this game, you know, feel free to leave them in the comments below. I'll see what you suggest, and if it's definitely within my realm of familiarity or something like that, like if I'm familiar enough with whichever you want for me to do, I can definitely go ahead and do it. But I cannot make 100% on that promise. Like if you ask me to make a video on, like, let's say Captain Olimar, for example, like that's not gonna happen, unfortunately. I know nothing of the character, and I don't know if I'll ever be motivated to learn anything about playing the character. So that's just an example of what I mean when I say that it has to be within my realm of expertise. So anyway guys, I'll see you guys later, and as always, play until your thumbs fall off. Peace out, everyone.
Let's do that again sometime!